Hello there. This is CNR Extra on Citi TV. You are welcome. My name is Philip Ni Lati. Coming up, one person in the grips of the police following disturbances between students of Mensah Sarbah Hall and Commonwealth Hall in the University of Ghana.
Their patrol vans from the region and all that are here. A gentleman was picked up and they are still working on him.
Also, President Jacobu rules out any plans to reshuffle his ministers.
And many of them, for me, have done an outstanding work. Their output has been considerable, and that's what I look at.
Still ahead, police in Jacobu in the Amansio West District of the Ashanti region investigate killing of final year student of Chunibu Akodua Senior High School. And later, President of the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs describes as unacceptable the current power outage in the Krobo area by the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG.
For the past couple of weeks, we've been in the dark, and that thing has been bothering me so much. And I know that my children are also bothered by it.
Many thanks for tuning in to Citi TV and joining us on CNR Extra. Let me welcome my colleague Jude Duncan, who is going to do the discussion with me. Jude, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Philip. Always a pleasure to be on the show.
Exactly. And you can join us with your comments, your contributions on WhatsApp 05505885832. So we read it to the world for you. Let's move straight to our first story and go to the University of Ghana campus, where there was a clash between the members of Mensah Sarbah Hall and Commonwealth Hall. Well, one person has been arrested. Let's take a look in this clip.
It all started when the students of Mensah Sarbah Hall decided to have their Sarbah Week celebration. Indeed, that led to a number of movements and celebrations. They had a procession on campus. And we are told at the end of that procession, there was a problem. There was a clash between what is suspected to be students of the Vandal City Commonwealth and the students of the Mensah Sarbah Hall. This clash became very chaotic and violent, leading to the destruction of vehicles. At least one vehicle was set ablaze, and students were injured. Some students were injured. Lots of the properties on campus were pelted with stones. And the ensuing result, when the dust settled, is the aftermath that we are witnessing. And so for the City Newsroom, we've come to the campus of the University of Ghana to visit these two rival halls and to see if there's going to be an end in sight, trace the problem, and possibly ask for solutions from same. You're welcome to follow us for our coverage here on the City Newsroom. Also, this is the remnant of the clash between the two halls, even though there's a dissociation that's happening from some of the halls. This vehicle parked by someone, possibly an innocent motorist who had come into campus, or maybe a student, someone who may not have an interest at all in what's happening, or someone who has an interest in what's happening. And in the ensuing commotion, and when the dust settled finally, this was what was left behind. Someone's vehicle bent to ashes now. It's been some 48 hours since the incident, and the police have moved into campus. They've actually been to the campus over the past 2 days or so. There are motor riders, as in police motor riders, who are also here, and these are advantage places in front of the Sarbah Hall, Mensah Sarbah Hall, that is, where most of the vandalism took place, because a significant thing is that the symbol of the Mensah Sarbah Hall, which is the bust of Mensah Sarbah, was removed by the people who came attacking the hall. Students are moving around doing their usual work on campus. We presume that lectures are happening as always, as planned and as scheduled. We do not know who did this, but it happened during the commotion between what we were told at the time was a clash between the students of Commonwealth Hall and Mensah Sarbah Hall. So it looked like an invasion of Sarbah Hall, and we were told this was by students of Commonwealth. We have not proven that. We have no evidence to show that it is the case. But lots of stones were held that night, stones that were targeted at the Mensah Sarbah Hall behind me. And of course, there were retaliatory missiles too that were thrown. So these dustbins in front of the Mensah Sarbah Hall, supposed to be used for collecting rubbish, were rather used to pack stones, stones that were thrown that night, some of which hit some of the properties here. And we also told there are several other stones that were thrown here which have been carted away in wheelbarrows and so on. And so that's how violent the clash that happened here that evening was. So the inscription on the ground is part of activities that the students of Mensah Sarbah Hall, popularly known as Okpo students, Okpo Goes Official 2022, is a celebration that was happening that night. And we're told that it was that celebration which also had a procession as part of it. And during that celebration was when the vandalism, or after the celebration that the vandalism happened. And as we speak, information is still not as clear. But for people who have followed these universities, the rivalry has been intense and chaotic and violent in the past. So this for them may just be one of many of these instances. But of course, it is not something that should happen. It's a criminal activity, and that is why the Ghana Police Service is on the scene, continuing with the investigations. But let's speak to the citizens in the Mensah Sarbah Hall. Have an understanding.
I was not here. I was in my room when I got a call that something had happened and we had to move to the police station. That's basically. So we are at the police station and we got calls that the clash has started. And so we had to return and monitor the situation, make sure everybody's calm. The ladies and everything is okay before anything gets out of hand.
When you came back, what did you see? Can you paint the picture for us?
When we got back, they had already started flying the stones. So
they're throwing stones from outside?
Outside the hall.
Into your yard?
Not into the hall, just in front there.
Okay, so
around
what were they targeting? Were they targeting people or the property? What exactly?
I actually see, but they were just throwing stones at the people also defending around the hall, so we can't just say they were targeting particular people or particular persons.
It was later in the morning that we came out to see that the Mensah Sarbah Hall statue, the head, is not available, it's been gone. We don't know what happened, but per hearsay, say some group of people came around, took it away.
So you didn't even know what was happening at that night was happening?
I didn't see or witness what was actually going on.
You didn't even know that there was something happening in your backyard?
We heard the chanting voice, okay. Yes. Yeah, but
you didn't know it was chaotic and there was violence?
No, we didn't know. I didn't know how intense that the situation was. Yeah, because I was with a couple of girls playing game at the Sarbah field first.
What do you want to see done as students of the hall?
Students of the hall. The main thing we want is the statue back. That's what we know. We want.
You don't even know where it is.
We don't know where it is, but I believe the police are around, so they can help us with that.
Could it be possible that it was taken out of the campus, or it is in one of the halls?
The police are the best people to tell us where it is now, because they are around. They are everywhere. They get the intelligence and everything, so they can tell us where it is.
Also, it's from all the reports that we've received, a clash between students of Commonwealth Hall and Mensah Sarbah Hall. The Mensah Sarbah Hall students have spoken to us. They've explained what they saw that night. We've come to the Commonwealth Hall as well, the Vandal City, to also hear from them. Unfortunately, we are told that we're not going to get any comment officially from here. But suffice it to say that there's a comment already out there by the hall distancing itself or dissociating itself from the incidents that occurred here. And they say that they were not involved and their students were not involved. And so the police would have a tougher job now trying to locate the bust of Mensah Sarbah, which is gone missing, plus persons who were involved in the vandalism and the clash that led to the burning of a vehicle and the destruction of several property. A few more students. What's your name?
Richard Kofi.
Which hall are you in?
I'm in Sarbah Hall.
Sarbah, you saw what happened. Were you there that evening?
Yeah, I was there.
Did you throw a stone?
Oh, no, please.
But you saw the stones being thrown?
Yeah, I observed.
What do you make of what happened?
Oh, it's a very bad incident as students on campus, and it's very dangerous to our lives. We are brought to campus to learn, so such action shouldn't be done on campus. Yeah.
How about you? Which hall are you in?
I'm in Commonwealth.
You're in Commonwealth. And the two of you are working together when we called you.
Yeah.
We're told that there's a rivalry between Commonwealth and Sarbah.
Yeah.
From where you sat on top of your hill on Vandal City, you were hearing of events down there. Were you part of the people who invaded their hall and attacked them?
No, please.
But you know people who did that?
I don't really know, but I heard of the incident.
Okay. Yeah. And what did you hear?
Oh, I heard that there was a little bit of chaos and the Commonwealth and the Sarbah boys were fighting.
What do you make of that? What's your thinking around that?
I think it doesn't speak well of us as students, and we need to be peaceful.
They say that you have come to steal Sarbah's head and taking it to your place. Is it true? Is it hiding in your... Have you hidden it inside Commonwealth?
No, please. No, please. I don't know of that.
You don't know that. The bust of Sarbah is not around. As a student who worships and celebrates that hall, what do you make of that?
I think it's a very bad act. Whoever did that should kindly return, and also the school authorities should also intervene and bring the statue back, because it's a school authority and it's a representation of the hall. Now, without the statue, the hall doesn't have a representation, and that it should be returned or be replaced. I think if it doesn't find its way back to wherever it was, things will escalate, and I'm sure boys from Sarbah will also try destroying things at Vandal City or something like that. So I think the school management should act as quick as possible so that there will be peace on campus. Yeah.
If you were asked to follow a group of students to go and attack Vandal City, would you do that?
Oh yes, I would defend my hall at any time. So I would.
If it means getting the bus back, you do that?
Of course, yeah, because now there is no identity as a Sarbah guy. So now
you are headless.
Yes, the only identity has been stolen, and to find it back so that maybe I can get my identity back is what we need now as a people.
If you are asked to go and invade Sarbah, would you go with your team from Commonwealth?
Personally, I don't preach violence, yes. So as for me, all I want is peace, and I'm an advocate for peace. Just as my brother said, I think the approach is adapting is a bad one. We are in a period of tensions, and I think we should use diplomatic means to solve the problem amicably.
The University of Ghana is in the Ayawaso West Wagon constituency. The Member of Parliament here, who is a Deputy Whip as well, the Honourable Lydia Sarah Malasan, has come to see herself what the situation is on the ground. Madam, you're welcome to Citi TV's coverage of the clash here. What did you hear about what happened on campus?
It's been alleged that our children, Sarbah and Commonwealth Hall, had clashes, which resulted in loss of properties, damages, and even some people hurt. So I am here to see for myself and also to console the people who have been hurt and those who've lost properties. That is the purpose for which we are here this morning. Legon, being the intellectual capital of the nation, is a place that I hold very dear to my heart. And so anything that affects their security affects me and affects the nation as well. Government does everything possible to ensure that the security here on campus is intact. So together with the police command, we are doing our best to ensure there's calm.
I know you've been briefed by the police. Have they told you if anyone has been arrested or anything? Do you know anything yet?
Well, I wouldn't say there was a serious arrest, but they are doing well. I must say that I commend them highly. What I see around, they are all over patrolling. Their patrol vans from the region and all that are here. A gentleman was picked up, and they are still working on him.
I think for the Sarbah students, the biggest headache would be the loss of the head of their house. What would you say to the students and indeed the security agencies about that?
Together, we are all working to ensure that they find it.
That's the Honourable Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wuogon, the Honourable Lydia Seram Al-Hassan, who has come here to see for herself the situation here following the clash between students of Sarbah Hall and Commonwealth Hall. As we speak, the head or the bust of Mensah Sarbah is still not being accounted for, and that has become a problem for students here who want to see the icon of their house present. This is Citi Newsroom on Citi TV. The university itself, the authority, from the Vice-Chancellor to everybody, have been tight-lipped since Citi News have been making attempts to speak to them on this issue. We've been told there have been marathon meetings happening on campus today, and indeed we are told that there may be some communication from the police, from the University of Ghana authorities.
So that was an extensive report on what happened on campus, that is the University of Ghana campus, concerning members of Mensah Sarbah and Commonwealth Hall. And you saw the level of distraction on campus, which is not accepted.
I mean, I agree with you. It's senseless, it's irresponsible, and it doesn't speak well of a place or an institution that is supposed to be the intellectual hub of the country. I mean, myself, I've witnessed some of these incidents in the past when I was a student in the school. So it's very shocking that down the years, some of these things are still happening. I mean, Philip, come to think about it, these students are people who would probably go to lectures together, and I'm referring students in this case, I'm referring to both residents in Mensah Sarbah Hall and Commonwealth Hall. I mean, you see them go to lectures together, you see them eat together. Those who participate during sporting activities do that together when it's time to do that. Them, for some reason, there's so much strife and enmity between them when issues of competitions come into play.
I'm excited that at least one person has been arrested, and that shouldn't end there. At least we know that the police has conducted or is conducting an investigation into the issue and also management of the school. But I don't think that every now and then this should happen and an arrest should happen and also investigation. No. Can't it end? Can't we do something for the entire thing to end? You were on campus.
Something clearly has to be done. Like I was saying, over the years, it's been recurring way too often. I mean, some incidents and instances in the past didn't necessarily have this high level of distraction and injury or even destruction to property, but there's been clashes here and there. But like I was saying, something could be done. And for me, I don't know why, for instance, management and past vice chancellors have not taken it upon themselves to ensure that some really stringent measures are put in place. For example, why are there no police presence on campus? I mean, you'd argue and say, well, there's the Legon police station. But to be honest with you, if you go there, it's really nothing to write home about. There are certain instances where you go there to make a complaint and there's really nothing being done. So for me, I feel going a long way, there should be a sort of mechanism in place to ensure that there's some form of police visibility on campus. Mind you, when the police are on campus, some of these things really are unheard of.
Yes.
I mean, in other parts of the world, they have what they call campus policing. I mean, the Canada practice that, the US practice that, where the police are just around their presence alone sort of repels some of
and
these
we wouldn't expect
instances.
that now that this has happened. It should be a 9-day wonder from the police that their visibility will be felt on campus. Then just in the twinkle of an eye, we wouldn't see them anymore. But like you are saying, they should be there for a very long time so that this is going to deter people from the various, because it's between Vandals and Vikings. And like yesterday, I was saying that the Vandals wouldn't want the Viking members to lord over them, and also the Vikings also wouldn't want same. So I think the police presence is very necessary,
because come think about it. If you look at a community like the University of Ghana, I mean, students alone is about 45,000. Agreed, not all of them are resident on campus, but look at the workers. I mean, so many people make up the University of Ghana community. Now you look at even the country as a whole, police to population ratio, just about the 25,000 police staff strength we have in the country. Police to citizen ratio in this country is about 1 to 1,200. When the UN, the United Nations prescribed that it should be between the range of 1 to 500, and we are doing 1 to 200. 1,200. So clearly there's a deficit with regards to policing in the country. So to in the form of creating jobs could even be some of these campus policing efforts. Get people involved, teach them one or two about how to do efficient.
So we have to see the police more on like on campus, so that
and
this
Philip,
will stop.
very briefly, more often than not, some of these instances are caused by not even the students themselves, but some old students who are done with school but still lurk around going about some of these things.
So that is
management
that is
needs
also
to start
a good
fishing
information there,
fishing out all of those people.
Fish out on people who are influencing or trying to fuel this particular chaos on campus. Let's go to another story that also made headlines. A lot of calls have been made for President Jacobu to conduct some reshuffling exercise amongst his ministers, but the president says that there isn't any plan like that. So let's take a look in this clip.
Jacobu says he has no plans of reshuffling his ministers. According to the president, his ministers have performed well in the last 6 years. Speaking on Tamale-based North Star Radio as part of his 2-day tour of the northern region, Jacobu says he does not believe in reshuffling. Citi News' Sami Yafe has more.
Has been mounting on President Jacobu to reshuffle his ministers who many say have poorly performed. Supporters and members of the governing MPP have not been left out of the cause. Party supporters say the non-performance of certain ministers, including Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, has resulted in the current economic challenges the country is facing. But the president disagrees. Nana Akufo-Addo says the current crop of ministers are what he needs to revive the economy. The president says he has no plans of reshuffling his ministers.
People are making a lot of noise about this matter. Okay. But several of the people who are responsible for assisting me to steer the country out of the difficulties that we inherited, and out of the difficulties that have subsequently come, are still in place. And many of them, for me, have done an outstanding work. Their output has been considerable. And that's what I look at. There's an issue about reshuffle or the performance of ministers. It isn't as if it is something that every now and then my mind comes to. It's a daily preoccupation for me. I'm required on a daily basis to ask myself whether the output of particular ministers is up to the mark. I am not the final authority, and if they're not up to the mark, I'm required to act. But if the output measures the expectations, then I don't have any strong reasons to heed the call. I'm not disputing that there is quite a lot of attention on it, but I also think it is important for us to have a really holistic look at this matter and be certain of what we're doing. But as I say, it's not no responsible leader, president, prime minister will announce, I intend to reshuffle my... No. If you're going to do it, you do it. If you're not going to do it, you just continue.
Nana Akufo-Addo also appealed to Ghanaians to exercise patience as government works to address the current economic hardship.
And we are determined to work our way through it. We did it when I first came into office, and I'm strongly of the belief that we can do it again because the policies are sound.
Okay.
They are about putting Ghana in a strong place.
Okay.
For the time being, there'll be a lot of up and down, people talking and saying, yes, the difficulties are there. And I'm the last to want to minimize the difficulties. They are there. They are affecting the lives of ordinary people in a very negative way.
Okay.
But what I'm saying to the people of Ghana is continue to have confidence that this government that took our economy from one of the lowest growth rates in our modern history when I came into office in 2017 and brought it up to one of the fastest growing economies in the world. That this government that did that, this government that was able to steer Ghana through the COVID pandemic. When the COVID pandemic came, there were people who were predicting gloom and downfall and that the streets of Africa, Ghana, places are going to be littered with dead bodies. This government took some very significant proactive measures to minimize the impact of the COVID pandemic.
And that is President Akufo-Addo there indicating that there isn't plans or there is plans for in a reshuffle in his government. But you know, the NDC has been calling for this. Recently, they are calling for the finance minister to step down. They've been calling for a number of the ministers in the government, that is in the NPP government, to be taken out or be reshuffled. And but the president says that there isn't any plan like that.
The funny thing is, it's actually not only the NDC that's even calling for some of the ministers to be reshuffled, but even some NPP let me say, pressure groups within the party are also pushing for some of these things. I mean, granted, because every other person or every other group have their own interest they are seeking to push. But, I mean, listening to the president yesterday was particularly interesting. And for me, it looked like the ultimate endorsement of the finance minister. Because, come to think about it, in the past weeks, he's been under severe pressure from, I mean, the finance community, from, I mean, Ghanaians at large, because of course, the IMF conditionalities and also the bailout,
the depreciation of the
so
Citi,
many things happening within the finance
number of
space
issues
that doesn't necessarily speak well. The economic downturn we are witnessing currently in the country and all of those things. So it was interesting to hear the president speak on that particular one. But the main crust of this issue, really, for me, is whether or not there's a need for a reshuffle and what the possible implications of a reshuffle could mean. Because, I mean, people like Professor Achu Aye, they are strong voices in terms of political science. He was at the political science department of the University of Ghana for a very long time. He did research on reshuffling. And you see, the approach is as important as the process itself. And also, when you do it, so many factors come into play when there are calls for a reshuffle. And whether or not the timing, I mean, so many factors.
And also reacting to this issue, the Member of Parliament for Norton, Samuel Kujetwa Blakwa, he is saying that the president has lost touch to reality. He is not seeing what is going on. And for him to come out and say that there isn't any need and he's not going to do any reshuffling as of now when Ghanaians are calling for something that is not in the best interest of Ghanaians. You know, people are also calling for the Agric minister to be taken out of office and another person has to come. They are calling on the finance minister who, for his score, is very...
Mr. Blakwa, in that interview on the Eyewitness News on Citi FM yesterday, said that the Agric minister is probably planting more billboards with regards to his question to be flagged than planting food. That was just by the way. But I mean, trust the NDC to go about with the usual politics. But the question still remains is that will the reshuffle affect ministerial delivery and policy direction of the country? Because come to think about it, between the last NDC government from 2009 to 2017 when they handed power, for the health ministry, we had Mr. George Sipa Ajayanki from 2009 to 2009, Mr. Benjamin Kumbo from 2009 to 2011, Joseph Yilichere, Alban Bagben, who is now speaker. Then during Mohamed tenure, Hani Sherry Aite took over from 2013 to 2014, Dr. Kweku Agyeman-Mensah 2014 to 2015, and Alex Egbefia, who was the last minister. So about 7 people headed the ministry within just about 8 to 7 years, or probably even 6 years, but they didn't necessarily translate into the ministry getting the necessary improvements in areas we expected. Not necessarily, because, for example, 2018, for instance, a year after just handing over, we had instances of the no-bed syndrome and all of those challenges. So a reshuffle does not necessarily guarantee that there are going to be improvements with regards to the ministry in question. But how you go about it is very important.
Let's move to the next story, where the police at Jacobu in the Amansie West district of the Ashanti region are investigating the death of a 16-year-old final year student of Krobo Senior High School. Let's take a look at this clip.
At Jacobu in the Amansie West district of the Ashanti region are investigating the death of a 16-year-old final year student of the Krobo Senior High School. Now, the deceased, Daniel Osei-Mensah, was allegedly stabbed by his attackers, and his body was found in a nearby bush in the area. Police have, however, picked up 3 persons in connection with the incident, with one of the suspects currently on the run. Citi News' Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani reports.
According to police sources, the deceased, who operates a motorcycle business at Odahun during school holidays, is suspected to have been met by the assailants in a nearby bush before he was attacked. The deceased was reportedly stabbed in the lower abdomen and chest and was later clapped by the attackers. The incident, which happened on Friday, August 5, 2022, has thrown the entire community into a state of shock.
In the cyber police station, no stand a measure manantia, Omdisa and Yamanasemono. Ampa, Mina police for by ma, Omba, if you had on farm cabs, I'm going to ranch and Omdisa and Yamanas, and what I say, ah, women, I'm so many back, dear, of your mason down here. I can't count on a dear, Yamin got me in Anamibua, almost so free benefit, Minimina on Ancasa. It's a few hours, idea, and the correct boy, I say, I can't even become home. No, no more, Quanamini pa and 9. Name when you pa 9. The
father of the deceased has been left distraught over the incident.
Bonifo kum bonifo. Akwa amfa so mdini bonino. Tikoni ensa bia so no. Se de omoye no. Kwa bia so so. Ase omonso. E do mfa so bimani.
The assembly member for the area has called for a concerted effort to fight crime in the area.
That issue say in here. Yeah, it go beyond say a buying point to be fighting because idea very serious collectively a buying community no awfo promo the SSA send a bay as I did was be a will play because parental care will honest a year juma ayana intimi enkusi Basi ya won kwara ni jijo mu eno mo nkasa yentu omofo ni enkosa ade no a e ma ban ko ai fight ya na ebre. Secondly ni e hwen so se aban so bitima boa amemere se maye me no ka se ni kuruma se ye hia police station ya yi bi ho adwuma wi afini e twen se IGP ye ne no communicate date wo de me se ne be ye bitima bi no eno na ye twen ti ye be sra ban so se omwaye no immediately ni ntimi mie the police station se ne e be ya ye bitima nya police station ha.
Some youth in the area were
very sad news coming in there from that particular part of the country in the Ashanti region where one person, 16-year-old boy, very sad. And the youth members are calling for security to be intensified in that area. And I think it's a step in the right direction.
It is. The call is very necessary. We expect the police to, as a matter of urgency, take this up very seriously and ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book and justice is served.
Yes. This is still the CNR Extra on Citi TV. You can still join us with your contributions and your comments on our WhatsApp line 0550-585832. Still to come, President of the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs describes as unacceptable the current power outage in the Krobo area by the Electricity Company of Ghana. We'll bring you more. Stay with us.
Creamy Plus is a fully skimmed evaporated milk. Creamy Plus is available in a shop near you.
This message has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Many thanks for staying with us. This is still CNR Extra on Citi TV. Join us live with your comments and contributions on 0550-585832 and we will read it out to the world so far with the stories you've heard. Let's move straight to another story where the president of the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs and Paramount Chief, he has described as unacceptable the current power outage in the Krobo area by the Electricity Company of Ghana. Let's take a look at this clip.
The president of the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs and the paramount chief of the Manya Krobo traditional area, Nene Sakite II, has described as unacceptable the current power outage in the Krobo area by the Electricity Company of Ghana, the ECG. Now, Nene Sakite II, who expressed shock about ECG's decision to disconnect the enclave after a series of stakeholder engagements, says the situation, which has lingered for almost 2 weeks, is affecting the livelihoods of the residents. Now, speaking to journalists on the development, the chief of the Manya Krobo traditional area called on his people to embrace the prepaid meter system.
It is almost 2 weeks since the power distribution company ECG disconnected electricity from the Krobo area. Their decision to take the area off the national grid was because some unknown persons were tampering with the company's transformers. They attacked ECG workers engaged in the prepaid meter installation exercise and other issues. Various stakeholders, including the clergy, astute Krobo indigents in government, traditional and opinion leaders have added their voices to calls for the ECG to restore power back to the troubled enclave, as all facets have been affected by the power outage. Health institutions operating in the enclave have indicated that the protracted impasse is likely to affect quality health care delivery, which can ultimately lead to the loss of lives. Senior high schools whose students are sitting for the ongoing WASI examinations have threatened to close down the schools if the situation is not resolved immediately. Nana Sakite II called on the residents to embrace the prepaid meters going forward to help address such issues and not to incite residents against personnel of ECG. Nana Sakite spoke to journalists and expressed shock at the ECG's refusal to restore power back to the Krobo enclave after a series of stakeholder engagement with top management of the ECG.
For the past couple of weeks, we've been in the dark. And that thing has been bothering me so much. And I know that my children are also bothered by it, because some of them are losing their livelihood because of that. Some of them are artisans, some of them are hairdressers, tailors, mechanics, even the hospitals, and people working at the coal stores. They are losing their livelihood. These people have families. But today, because we don't have power all around Lower Manya, these people.
I think the earlier something is done about this, the better, because a lot of businesses in that area rely solely on electricity, and you could see from the shots there or from the clip, businesses are going down, the pubs are going down, hairdressers are not able to work, barbers are not able to work, and even with that, if it continues, that means they are supposed to purchase fuel, and that is going to also bring another cost onto them. So I think something has to be done about it immediately.
I mean, these are really unfortunate scenes happening in so many in the Krobo land. Because I mean, for the life of me, I can't imagine, for instance, being in the hospital and for issues such as this, there's no electricity to ensure I get the health care that I need. Come to think about students who are also have to study. I mean, back in school, we all went for preps in the evening, especially when they have WASI to write. So it's mind-blowing, and it doesn't make any sense at all, some of these things happening. But I understand where the ECG is also coming from, because you listen to the managing director, Mr. Dubek Muhammad, the other time, and even the energy minister himself, Napo, they mentioned that about 3.2 billion Ghana cedis is lost to the inability of people to pay power theft and faulty meters and all of those things. And this is some really huge money that, if government had, could be used into other very critical sectors of the economy. So while we don't condone some of these instances where people blatantly refuse to just pay their electricity bills and remove their prepaid meters and all of these things, I feel it's also very unfortunate that they don't have their lights. But we want to encourage them. I heard the chief, Nene Sakite, admonish residents in the area and in the enclave to accept the prepaid meter, because that is really the way forward if they want to ensure that the economic activities within the communities bounce back. Because other than that, we are heading towards a disaster, a complete disaster, because people are going to lose jobs, people are going to die, students will not be able to study. I just can't imagine. And it's going to bring chaos in the entire community. Exactly. And I think that the stakeholders, the community members, should find a way to resolve this issue immediately. And still on this issue, the managing director of ECG says that the company will use all available means to retrieve the revenue from its customers in Yulo and Manya Krobo.
You're welcome back. Now, the managing director of the electricity company of Ghana, ECG, says the company will use all available means to retrieve its revenue from customers in the Yulo and Manya Krobo areas. According to him, stakeholders have been called to the table to find solutions to the confusion surrounding the installation of prepaid meters in the area. Inaugurating a meter audit and visibility task force at the Legon district in the Accra East region of the ECG, Samuel Dubik Mahama noted that no one will be left out of paying electricity bills. On the other hand, the task force has since disconnected the Icon Event Center at East Legon for meter bypass. Fred Duho has more.
According to the managing director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, The issues confronting the company in Yilo and Manya Krobo in the eastern region and the East Tema region are currently being discussed to find an amicable solution.
Whatever I will do in Dansuman to recover my money, I should be able to do that in Manya Krobo to recover my money. I should be able to do the same thing in Yilo Krobo, just the same way I'll do in Medina to collect my money. At the proper time, we'll address the issues. But for now, it is what it is. We are looking for a solution, and all the parties have been called to the table to discuss. So at the right time, we will share the intricacies with everybody. But that notwithstanding, I cannot be chasing everybody to pay their bills and turn a blind eye to Krobo not to pay their bills. That will not be fair to the people of Ghana.
The MD of ECG, Samuel Dubik Mahama, has officially launched and deployed a meter auditing and visibility task force across the country to visit each home to check the state of all postpaid and prepaid meters. The exercise, according to the managing director, is aimed at recovering debts and to prosecute recalcitrant power thieves. He noted that during the first week of the exercise, which started on August 1, 2022, the team discovered over 1,000 illegal connections, and some of the customers have been surcharged, while others will be facing prosecution from next week.
We identified more than 1,000 places that had illegalities, and we've surcharged most of them, and they are about to pay and all of that. But we then realized that we needed to beat a retreat to launch the task force for everybody to know how the task force will be visiting them and the exercise. I would want to entreat each and every Ghanaian not to entice them with money. They are not to give them any amount of money for whatever reason whatsoever. If you are doing the right thing, there is no need to compromise any of my employees.
Citi News in the company of the task force were at the premises of the Icon Event Center, where the team uncovered illegal connection at East Legon in Accra. It was observed that security lights and other electrical appliances were functioning, including air conditioners, fridges, among others, without authorization.
We have a way of looking at it. We have instruments that we use, like the basic one is the clamp-on meter we just used. So we expect that whatever we are getting from the intake should be same as what the meter is saying. If the meter is not saying same, then we suspect that there's an issue. The onus is on us to point to where the problem is. Before the disconnection, what was the issue now? The reading was 0. And so let's connect him and then measure to see. Nothing is coming here. Okay, the next one. The next one. The yellow, on the yellow. It's 0, okay. On the blue. This is what we are doing. So when we measured from the transformer end, the red phase was 39 amps. The yellow phase was 14 amps, and the blue phase was 22 amps. It is expected that when we measure from here, we should get, if not same, almost same. Over here, the same clamp-on meter, on the red is 0, yellow is 0, blue is 0. It means that whatever they are using within these premises is for free.
And the Electricity Company of Ghana is bent on coming up with all means to retrieve revenue from the Yilo and Manya Krobo, and as well individuals who are engaging in illegal activities concerning their meters.
I mean, it's unpatriotic. It's also very regrettable that you'd want to be in a country and not want to pay taxes or pay your utilities bills. I don't understand why you'd want to do that. We don't build countries like that. Great nations do not become great by citizens not paying their taxes. So for me, it's very unfortunate. And this is a step in the right direction. I don't want to commend Mr. Mahama Dube, who is the managing director of the ECG. I think it's a really tough tax, but he's up and doing, trying to get things done. I mean, in just a week, about 1,000
illegal connections,
irregularities have been found. So you can imagine what will be found in a month's time or after 2 or 3. So it's a conversation that needs to be had. And I mean, over the years, the practice is that it comes up, then quite conveniently swept under the carpets, then it keeps recurring. But like I was saying earlier, 3.2 billion Ghana cedis lost in about just a few years to, or probably even a year, to people who don't pay their electricity bill. So for me, it doesn't make any sense at all, and we shouldn't condone some of these
and
things.
Also, before when the company announced their plans to embark on this exercise, they gave some free grace period for people to come and address their issues and all that. So I think that is a step in the right direction.
Like I was saying,
they've launched some task force to also enter into the public and ensure that meters are audited.
Yeah, he gave a free roll and a free range and ensured that people who had challenges, genuine challenges, were pardoned. So I was expecting that Ghanaians would take advantage of that moratorium that was given for the period and report themselves, because they were not going to be charged or anything. But after that period, if you insist on still having an illegal connection, then it means that you deliberately want the system to fail. And I agree, they should be surcharged. They should be made to face the full rigors of the law. And like we've agreed on this table, it's a step in the right direction. The event center, for instance, why would you want to run such an elaborate facility and not want to pay taxes? Who does that?
Yes.
So it doesn't make any sense at all, and we want them punished to serve as a deterrent. You recall some time ago, some government agencies, I mean, even stadium was mentioned, some ministries were mentioned. You see, we don't lead Parliament. I mean, how can you tell me the story? You see, they have to set the example for others to follow. But if somebody sitting somewhere in your place,
yes,
is reading in a newspaper that Parliament, for instance, owes the ECG with all the benefits and packages they get, is still owing ECG. Then why should I, for instance, in Kanishi or Pokwasi?
So from what you are saying,
we don't condone it. We don't condone it, but we are saying that leadership should lead by example.
Exactly.
So it's a step in the right direction, and we want the ECG to continue.
But from what ECG also indicates is that the big companies that were caught engaging in illegal activities, they are trying their best to resolve the issue.
They should publish their names.
But this is still
they should publish it.
CNR Extra on Citi TV. My name is Philip Nilati, and I'm here with Judy Duncan. You can still join us with your comments and contributions on our WhatsApp line 0550585832. Still to come, the National Petroleum Authority to begin investigations into concerns of seal tampering raised by the Ghana National Tanker Drivers Association. Kindly stay with us. We will bring you more after this. Many thanks for staying with us. This is still CNR Extra on Citi TV. Let's move straight to our next story, where the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, is set to conduct investigations into concerns of seal tampering as outlined by the Ghana National Tanker Drivers Association. There is more in this clip.
Petroleum Authority, the NPA, is set to begin investigations into concerns of seal tampering as outlined by the Ghana National Tanker Drivers Association. The association between August 1st and August 5th laid down their tools to demand the review of the electronic cargo tracker system, among other concerns. Now, on the back of this, the regulator, which is the NPA, has begun a series of engagement with stakeholders in the petroleum sector to resolve outstanding issues. We have more on this report filed by Citi News' Kwekwe Diamansa.
The meeting organized by the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, on Monday is one of a series of engagements with stakeholders in the petroleum downstream to find a lasting solution to their grievances. The engagement stems from concerns raised by the Ghana National Tanker Drivers Association for a review of the electronic cargo tracking system, amongst other grievances. The tracking system comes in the form of a seal on the tracks that convey petroleum products from the source to the final destinations. Drivers who have their seals broken at the end of the journey is termed by the NPA as tampering, a situation that has been criticized by the tanker drivers and called for it to be reviewed. To remedy this situation, the NPA and the relevant stakeholders have held a meeting on the way forward.
We sat down to have a look at the tempering of the seal issue, which I said it clear that no tanker driver is against the seal issue, but the way the seal is working, the system is working with the report generating by the seal, that tempering. Okay, we expect the authority, if it is tempering, yes, they have to have a look at it vividly so that they come out with a report. You get the point? By banning the driver and the transporter as well. Okay, so those things that we are talking about, we are not saying they shouldn't track the truck. No. Being the chairman, I will not stand here and say drivers are 100%, therefore they should not track the truck. But what I'm saying is, if it must be done, it must be done well.
The MPA, in this regard, has decided to launch a probe into such concerns. The chairman for the Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers said.
So I think this will be very important for the National Petroleum Authority to do, especially when the Ghana National Tanker Drivers Association have embarked on a strike, and they've resumed, and they are coming out with concerns that there is some tampering with their seals and all that. So I think that is something that the NPA should take very important and address the issues of the tanker drivers.
In the last few days, when there was some fuel shortage scare, I mean, we all saw what was about to happen in this country. So anything that has got to do with some of these things, we hope that negotiations are expedited, stakeholder engagements is broadened and consulted. Because, I mean, fuel smuggling has existed for some time, but it's not something you'd want to sort of endorse or condone in any way, because it goes a long way to affect the industry and the players in it. So we want the NPA,
like embarking on an investigation and all that.
Exactly.
I think it's something very important that
we need to pay attention.
Exactly. So you've been joining us with your comment and your contributions on our WhatsApp line, and just to wrap up, you have to read some of the comments from Blueprint, writing from Sikado Ketan. He says that an incident at Odaho in the Ashanti region is terrific and horrifying. Therefore, he calls on all stakeholders to help bring peace and sanity to the area.
Terrifying. I'm not sure about that incident being terrific.
Exactly. So he's saying that we should try and at least stakeholders should come together and try and work around the issue. So that is how we end today's edition of CNR Extra on Citi TV. My name is Philip Nilate, and many thanks for having you, Jude,
so
Duncan. It's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure doing this with you, Philip.
Stay with us on Citi TV always. Thank you.